Alright. There's a long saga here, but basically I'll just cut to the chase. Your syllabus has not been updated yet. We'll get around to it when I can. I don't know when that'll be, but I don't have any more time today. I may have some time tomorrow, but then, yeah, so I'll try to get it done tomorrow, Friday, if possible. Okay. This is Math 238, Applied Differential Equations 1, 3-credit hour course. The times, of course, are wrong because this was from an earlier, in fact, this was the summer, last summer, in fact. Okay, so we're meeting 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. This room, this campus, this room, Monday and Wednesday. And my name's Charles Fowler, by the way, and it's A265 in my office. I think all of you have been there, so you know where that is. My office number is that, but I'll say this again. Please don't call except during office hours because I can't get my voicemail to operate properly. So I can get sometimes old messages. I can't even tell when they were, and I can't ever tell when they were. It's just all screwed up. Okay, so only call during office hours, and these are wrong, but I'll tell you what they are. And if you can't get me, just hang up and call back within office hours in another 10 or 15 minutes, just in case I went to the restroom or had to go down to an office or something. Okay, now my email address is cfowler@watsonstate.edu. And right now I'm pretty far behind in that too because we've been canceling classes, moving students around. It's just been nothing but hectic for the last week. So we'll try to get calmed down there for a while, and then I'll get back on email at least sometime. On Fridays, I'm on the Birmingham West Campus, and that's in room B122. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Birmingham. Okay, it's the academic building, the long building in the back of the quad, and it's the one that had the fire last term. And but they've got everything supposedly fixed now. They're back in it, so I haven't been to the office since that happened. The fire was somewhere else, but it was smoke and dust was all over everything. But when I'm over there, I'm in B122. Now, that's the suite of offices. Dr. Carl Pruitt's office suite. When you go in the door, the secretary's desk is right in front of you. His big office is in the corner. And behind her desk is the copy room. That's where I am on Fridays. Okay? They do have a phone in there. It's on 929-6409. But it's not my phone. It's the phone that's in the office. But the woman who's there Monday through Thursday, she's part-time, and she's a grant coordinator. And so she's not there on Friday, so that's why I use the office. So don't leave a message on that number because I'll never hear it. It goes to her, and she won't know what to do with it. So that's, again, if I'm not in the office, wait 15, 30 minutes, I'll try again. And we'll get there in a minute. Here's my office hours. Now, these were the ones for summer. These are different. So my office hours this term, for now, okay, it changed this morning, so it may change again. 8 to 10 on Monday and Wednesday. That's in the morning. And on Monday, after this class is over with, from 3:45 until 6. 8 to 10, 3:45 till 6 on Mondays. Okay, Tuesday and Thursday are identical, 8 to 8:30. Then I have a pre-calculus algebra class, a pre-calculus trig class, a linear algebra class, and then I have, I think, 30 minutes for lunch, and then I have a physical science class that goes the rest of the day. It goes from 1:15 until 5:45. It has class and then lab, both Tuesday and Thursday. It's a mini-term class. Okay, so for my lessons, second?
What class was that?
It's Physical Science 111. It's, you wouldn't take it because you're physics. Okay, this is Physical Science. It's for basically non-science, non-engineering majors. Okay. Now, so I'm through that at 5:45. So 5:45 to 6, a good big 15 minutes of office hours there. So not much on Tuesday and Thursday. Wednesday, I have that 8 to 10 because I lost the class this morning. Somebody else needed a class, so I gave it to them. But I don't have that time period in the afternoon because I have a class right after this one, physics class over on the Birmingham East Campus that goes 4:30 to 6:30. So I have to leave here shortly after this class is over with, to drive there and then teach the class, and then I go home from there. Okay. Thursday I already talked about. Fridays, basically 8 to 12 on the Birmingham campus. So I'm usually there before 8, and I'm almost always there after 12. There are at least going to be 2 Fridays, maybe more, that I won't be on Birmingham campus. I know about now. One of them's coming up the first Friday in February. We have math meetings in Tuscaloosa, so I'll be in Tuscaloosa that Friday, so I won't be on campus then. Then sometime probably late February, early March, I may have an infusion. I have a mild form of leukemia, and so I have to have an infusion about once a quarter or something like that. But I see the doctor next month, and he'll determine whether I need a treatment or not. So I don't know on that, but most Fridays I'll be there, 8 to 12 at least, and then quite a bit other. Okay. Course description. Now, this is not something I wrote or anyone here at the college wrote. A committee of the 2-year colleges and the representatives from the public 4-year colleges, university in the state of Alabama got together and said, if we teach this, they give you credit for it. Okay? So this is an introduction to numerical methods, qualitative behavior of first-order differential equations, techniques for solving separable and linear sorry about that, linear equations analytically, and applications to various models, populations, motion, chemical mixture, blah, blah, blah. Techniques for solving some higher order linear differential equations with constant coefficients, general theory, undetermined coefficients, reduction of order, method of variation of parameters. We won't hit all those, we'll do some of them. With emphasis on interpreting the behavior of solutions and applications to physical models, whose governing equations are higher order. The Laplace transform, I doubt if we're going to get there, but as a tool for solutions of initial value problems whose inhomogeneous terms are discontinuous. Wow. Okay. Quite a sentence there, isn't it? Okay. Sounds like St. Paul wrote it or something. No. Okay. Here's the reality of it. I doubt if we'll get all that done, but here's what we do, and I don't see anyone with a book yet, but we'll talk about this in a bit. Okay, introduction to numerical methods of qualitative behavior. That's partly in Introduction to Differential Equations. Okay, that's chapter 1, a very short chapter. Okay, but we will have a test at the end of that. It will be a pretty, hopefully a fairly simple test. We'll talk about that later. Okay, then it says, let me find it again. Behavior of first-order differential equations. That's chapter 2. Okay, and in this we'll talk about separable equations that they mentioned here somewhere. I saw it. Yeah, solving separable and linear equations analytically. There's 2.2 is separable, 2.3 is linear. They don't mention exact equations, but we'll be doing exact equations, and we'll do a little bit on the numerical. Okay, so that's chapter 2. And we're going to skip chapter 3, which is modeling first-order differential equations. There's nothing in here about modeling. Even though okay. Then we'll go to higher-order differential equations, and that's where this picks up. Techniques for solving higher-order differential equations with constant coefficients, and that's 4.3. Okay. And it says the general theory, that's really the first part, 4.1. Undetermined coefficients, that's 4.4 and 5. 4.4 is superposition, and 4.5 is annihilator. We'll just go with superposition. That's, I think, the more normal. They mentioned variation of parameters, that's 4.6. And we'll not do anything with Cauchy-Euler. And then again, 5 is modeling with higher order differential equations. We'll skip that one. Series solution, there's nothing here about that, so we'll skip that one. Laplace transform, if there's time, then we'll go down and pick that up, and that's chapter 7. So far, I haven't made it that far, when I've taught it before, but we might get there. We'll see. And that pretty much covers it. So we'll get as far as we can and go from there. So that's the course description. You'll see all this show up again later. Prerequisites, you need to have done Cal 3. I think all of you have. All right, so that's covered. The textbook, and I don't know if the bookstore has them yet. They didn't get the order in time, so I redid the order. I guess it was Monday. So they said if we got it in the order on Monday, they should have them here by Wednesday. I doubt if they got the order in. But here it is, the first course in differential equations with modeling applications. 10th. Oh, this is 11th edition. I've got to change that. Zill is the author, Dennis Zill. It's a Brooks-Cole Cengage text. I think they've taken the Brooks-Cole off of it, so I'll take off Brooks-Cole there. It used to be called that. But the 10th edition, 11th edition, just says Cengage. You may use a graphing calculator. It's really not useful for that. You don't need it that much in this class, but if you got it, use it. Of course, you'll need paper, graph paper, pencils. Not really that much graph paper, but there are some places where you will need it. Pencils, if you'd rather use ink, that's completely up to you. But I guarantee you, when I do differential equations, I tend to make errors. You'll see. And so I like to use pencils so I can erase. Okay, let's see. Blackboard. I don't like this paragraph. In fact, it may have been changed some since then. Maybe not. Let's see. All courses must use Blackboard to gain access to vital course information, such as the syllabus, handouts, PowerPoint shows, activities, assignments, announcements, and so forth. Okay. Now, I don't have anything out there now. I'm going to get it there. This is the syllabus. I've got to make changes to the syllabus before I'm going to put it there. Once I do, I'll put the syllabus there. Now, they've changed Blackboard around again, okay? This term, it looks different from it did last term. It's not major, but it's just a little bit. When you get to the home page of Blackboard, okay, there are a series of blue tabs, or at least on the instructor side, it's blue tabs over here. For about a year or so, it's been a long series you have to scroll down to get to the end of it. Before that, it was fairly short, okay? But they expanded it a lot about a year or two ago. Well, now they've broken it into pieces, okay? In the first piece, it says course information, syllabus, and that kind of stuff. That's where I'll put the syllabus when it gets done. It's not finished yet. Then one or two tabs later, it says instructor information. That's where I'll put a locator card showing when I'm in class, out of class, on campus, off campus, lunch, whatever, and which campus I'm on, that kind of stuff. Okay? So that will be under that. Then you come down to the next grouping, and somewhere in there, there's one of the tabs that says PowerPoints, handouts, and more, or something like that. That's where I'll put the rest of the stuff. I'll put your research paper instructions, which hopefully we'll get to today. There aren't any PowerPoints for this class, so even though it says PowerPoints, there aren't any. Everything I'll do by hand on the screen, and it's going to be ugly and messy and long, and that's why it's hard to get much covered in here. But it'll all be out there. Okay. Now, handouts. If there are handouts, I'm going to hand them out to you. Okay. So I don't put those on Blackboard typically. However, I will put the research paper assignment. That will be one that's out there. Activities. Sometimes the school puts activities there. I can't imagine we'll have any output there, but the school may have some. Assignments, like I said, the research paper will be there. Now, also under that tab will be the YouTube videos. And the YouTube videos, that's where your assignments will be. Because at the end of every section and at the end of every class, I'll make the assignments for that section or that we covered so far in the class, and that's where you'll hear the assignments, the ones other than the research paper. Okay, so they will be on Blackboard, but they'll be in the YouTube videos. Announcements, usually I don't make any, but in case I do, or if the school makes any, that's where you'll see them. I don't like the next sentence, failure to use Blackboard will very damage your ability to pass the course. What a negative statement. So what I do, if I were able to rewrite it, which they don't let me, I'd say the proper use of Blackboard could greatly enhance your ability to do well in the class. Much more positive and closer to reality. I don't like the next sentence either. Students should always check the Blackboard announcement page and task pages prior to coming to class. Why would you have to check that before coming to class? In case I cancel class. How many times did I cancel class last term? Never. Okay? Now, I won't say never, but I usually don't. It has to be something really, really, really major, and hopefully that's not going to happen. Okay. Now, professional competency objectives. What we just saw in the course description, here it is again. Students will find solutions to first-order differential equations. Okay, now let's start again here. Go back to the table of contents. Students will find solutions to first-order differential equations. Okay, now this is chapter 2. I'm going to put in here instead in 1. Students will be introduced to differential equations, definition, terminology, initial value problems. That's chapter 1. And I'm pretty sure, make sure that I'm saying it right here. Yeah, I do chapter 1. I thought it did. It's been a couple terms since I taught this. Then, this will be number 2 then. Students will find solutions to first-order differential equations, including separable variables, that's 2.2, linear first-order equations, 2.3, and applications of various models. So that's all chapter 2. Okay? Students will solve linear equations of higher order, that's chapter 4. Including equations with constant coefficients, that's 4.3. And undetermined coefficients, that's 4.4. It's also 4.5, but we're going to do 4.4. Okay? Students will use Laplace transform methods to solve linear initial value problems with discontinuous functions. Again, that's chapter 7. If we get that far, okay? Students will use numerical methods to approximate solutions to systems. And basically, I don't know why that's written quite that way. Because my memory's right, we didn't say much about systems before, did we? Yeah, I'm going to take out that about systems. But there's several places we do numerical methods. 2.6 is one. And if we have time, the Cauchy-Euler equations also are sometimes used for that. Chapter 6 is series solutions, and that, I don't know. This is, I don't know, approximate solutions to systems. I don't know where that sentence came from, but I'll change that. Probably from a different book. Okay, so chapter 1 will be my new number 1. That's not listed here. Introduction, and that'll have a test. Oh, let's talk about that for a minute. Do you prefer in-class test or take-home test? Really? Wow, what a shock. Okay. Yeah. We'll have take-home tests. Number 1, so you can have all the time and space and everything else you need to work on. And I believe you'll need it. Though these won't be so awfully bad, but still, if you're fighting through it, you don't have the time pressure. Okay, so after we do, it's just 3 sections in chapter 1. We're not going to go into great detail on all those, but then we'll have a test, so it'll be fairly short. Then chapter 2 is a little more involved, but we'll have a test. Chapter 4 is linear equations of higher order, and we'll have a test after that. And if we have a chance to do Laplace transform methods, we'll have a test after that. Numerical methods, maybe that's where it came from. No, nothing here says that. So that's chapter 9. Okay, numerical methods. Okay. The writing competency is the research paper. Now, whatever our last test is, last test meaning final test, so that's your final exam. It won't be a comprehensive, it will be just whatever the last thing. But you see, all this builds on itself, so in a sense, it is somewhat comprehensive. Okay, evaluation following is break. Why do they have that worthless sentence in there? But anyway, chapter test, okay, will be given at the end of each chapter. The lowest chapter test may be dropped. The average of the remaining chapter tests, okay. For some reason, my research paper didn't make it in this one, so I'm going to put that in. Research paper is required. It counts as a chapter test. Of the remaining chapter tests, except for the final one, which can't be dropped, you'll drop your lower score of the others. Okay, the lowest score of the others. Okay, they put in a whole bunch of stuff about plagiarism that's not listed here, but it'll be in the new one, so sorry about that. Grading, I think you know how grading goes. A's are 90s, B's are 80s, C's are 70s. Don't go any lower, okay? Stay away from that. And I'm sorry about this next sentence, but the person who wrote the syllabus didn't understand math, obviously. Here's how it first read. The instructor always rounds grades up. That's how it read. The instructor always rounds grades up. For example, in the second part, exactly what she said. For example, 79.5% will be rounded up to 80%. But 79.4% would remain a C. Well, that's not rounding up. That's just normal rounding, okay? So that's why I changed it and said the instructor rounds grades normal. Because, frankly, I don't really round them. I have the system only put 2 digits. It rounds normally. So that's how I avoided having the contradiction there. Okay, attendance. Okay, I know that some of you work. That's difficult. But when you can be here, it helps to be here because it's hard to ask a video questions. Okay, and otherwise you have to catch me on times, and I'm quite willing to be caught, except this Muhammad, run from him. Okay. But he's been trying to get me on the phone. He said, I said, well, if I see it's you, I don't answer. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even have that feature. Okay. No, I answer the phone whenever it rings. It drives my wife crazy. She says, "Don't answer it." Okay. Anyway, try to be here when you can. But if you can't, that's why I record the classes. Withdrawals. I hate to do this, but let's go back to this. And I think I've said this before in other classes. I don't want to belabor it. But if it looks like there's no way you're going to avoid a D or an F, please withdraw. Because there's a D or an F is going to hurt your grade point average, a withdrawal will not. Okay? You're going to have to repeat a D or an F, you'll have to repeat a withdrawal. So there's no difference for natural aid or anything else. The difference is D's and F's hurt your grade point average, W's do not. So please, and I don't think any of you will get in that shape, but if it were to come down to it, you know, some emergency happens or something, withdraw, you know. Okay. Makeup work. I give the test and I say you have at least a week to work on it. Now the reason I say that, you have one class period that if you got home and started working on it, I don't even know what he's asking about here. You have a chance to come back and ask questions. Then the second reason, you always have a weekend before it's due, in case that's better for you. You can use as much time as you want. However, please don't have test 1 out when I give test 2, you know, because then you're just digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole. And what if you missed the concept in test 1 and you don't turn it in until after you're working on test 2? I grade it, get it back to you, you turn in test 2, you've already missed it again. So please get it in before the next test comes. Okay? Better prior to it so you can see what you missed. Okay. So with take-home tests, it's sort of hard to come up with what makeup work is. Okay. Lateness policy, I'm going to try. I didn't today. I tried, but I didn't make it because, let me explain part of that. My wife has outpatient surgery tomorrow, starting very early in the morning. And for outpatient surgery, they require you to have somebody in the waiting room, not give me a ring, call me, here's my cell. They won't accept any of that. If there's no one in the waiting room, no surgery. So I have to be there. And I don't want to be there anyway, but I have no way around it, okay? So, and that's going to start early in the morning. Who knows how long it's going to be. Then I get her home, and who knows whether I'll need to stay there at home or not. So plan for me not being on campus at all tomorrow.
So this is the 11 o'clock class tomorrow?
Yeah, 11:30 class, isn't it? Yeah, 11:30 class. I won't be here. Now, if you're on federal financial aid, we need to deal with attendance, okay? I will have someone in here. I think it's going to be Miss 11. No, that's going to be Mr. West, Matthew West. And if y'all are here and he's not, do y'all know where his office is? You know where it is, don't you? Are you in?
Yeah.
When you're out of it too? You know Mr. West's office?
Right
down there, yeah. Go get him and remind him, okay? Because he's got the roll sheet, and that way I'll have record of attendance. Now, if you're not on for that federal financial aid and you don't want to come in, you sure don't have to. But if you are on it, you don't want your first thing delayed getting to you, be sure you're here. Now, if you can't be here, you can't be here. But that's why I had to get the roll sheets to the people involved. So that's why I was in the hall, and I got stopped by people in the hall there. Okay. So from now on, I've got a class right before this one. I should be in the room, and everything's fine. I do have a little bit of a break, 30-minute break, so I'll probably go to my office just to swap out books. Now, they have a whole thing on academic integrity here, which is important stuff. Plagiarism, let me summarize this. Don't do it, okay? Is that close enough? Okay. Say again? Yeah. And cheating, don't do it, okay? You're cutting off your nose to spite your face, okay? Because if you don't get this material and you need it in the upper level course, you're going to be sucking wind in that course, and you're going to fail it. So go on and do it now. Now, it's take-home tests. I don't mind you working together. That doesn't mean find the smart kid and everybody copies his answer. Make sure you're participating in the process if you're working with other people. When I was an undergraduate, I really hated working with other people, so I always did my own. And then when we got together in a group, we worked things out in the group. But I always did it first for myself because I thought I'm not going to get it if I don't do it that way. So anyway, that's up to you. Professional decorum. Oh, that sounds important, doesn't it? Basically, it's a pretty common stuff. And I hate to make light of it, but I'm going to. If you sleep, please don't snore, or at least if you snore, don't do it loudly because you disturb other students, okay? And on that, number 5, eating and drinking, if you don't want to go to sleep and you need some caffeine, by all means. I'd rather you be alert than not, okay? So, and if you haven't eaten in days and your stomach's growling, I don't mind if you eat just to keep quiet, okay? So, it's just, yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, course concerns. Those are all things that we might have issue with you, but the course concerns if you have issues with me. And they have procedures here. First, speak with your instructor directly. Talk with me, okay? Let's see if we can work it out. Secondly, if that's unsuccessful, speak with the department chair. That's me. Okay, we'll talk again. Okay. All right. I'm sort of kidding here. Okay. But if that doesn't work, we'll go to the associate dean, we'll go to the dean, we'll vice president, president, wherever it takes, we'll get it done. But let's make it work. What's that?
By that time, you failed the class and you're out of here.
Yeah, I hope so anyway. Okay. All right. Procedures are listed at the website. There it is. Okay. Now, these next two are pretty important. I've been here, I can't remember, my 21st, 22nd year or something like that I'm on. Almost all in this room too, but so far I have detected or seen almost nothing that would classify as discrimination or harassment. And we don't want it to happen. Now, that doesn't say it hasn't happened. It's just people aren't stupid enough to do it in front of me. Okay, so if you sense, see whether it's against you or not, or just against somebody else, if you see or sense anything, let us know. We don't want it to happen here. We want this to be a safe learning environment for everybody. So we don't want any of that to happen. This isn't discrimination or harassment, but I hope it'll be equivalent to it. It was one of the first few years I was teaching here. We were still Western State Technical College at the time, and a kid that sat right behind Peyton there, the desk right there, he was not a very serious student. He was fresh out of high school. You could almost tell that his dad said, "You're going to college, what do you want to major in?" Auto mechanics, because I found out later he wasn't even interested in that. He didn't do anything in those labs either. He was just here killing time, daddy paying the bill, not having to work. And, but he showed up absent one day. That was unusual because most auto mechanics are here every day, or work, Well, he missed the next day. So finally I said, what's the story with him? He hasn't missed before. "Oh, you didn't hear?" I said, "No, hear what?" So one day at lunch, he just decided to walk on people's cars out in the parking lot. And somebody saw him, yanked him off, got him to the dean's office after a fairly short debriefing. He was off campus, never to be seen again, okay? That kind of behavior is just not tolerated. This kind of behavior, not tolerated. Now, you'll be given full hearing, you'll be given due process, everything else, but we don't want that happening here, okay? So we'll deal with it fairly, but quickly, succinctly, okay? Americans with Disability, as y'all probably know already, I'm hard of hearing, so this is a little close to my interest. So please, if you have any kind of a disability or need any kind of disability services, please contact either Dr. Renee Herndon on this campus, and there's other counselors here as well, or Ms. Janine McCoy-Jones on the Birmingham campus. They're both trained professionals in this. They know what to do. Bring the documentation in. They'll get the information to us. We will do whatever it takes. One time, many years ago, I had a student in a physics class who had a brain tumor, and they had to do some pretty major surgery. And either the tumor itself or the surgery, I never did get to it, had damaged his auditory nerve. So he was almost legally deaf. But he was a hard-working student. He had his tape recorder on the corner of my desk always, and when he got home, he could crank that baby up full blast and hear enough to know what was going on. He followed things well in class as he could by what I wrote on the board and stuff, but then he could get the audio part of it. We'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you have the situation where you can maximize your learning potential. Okay, so let somebody know. This obviously from last summer, I'll get the dates in there for this spring. They're on your academic calendar. You can see it on the website if you want to. It's not listed like this. It's actually listed in calendar format, January, February, March, April, and May. So it's all there. But I'll take it and put it in this table as well. Okay. And then finally, once I get all these corrections made, everything out there on Blackboard. Now, one thing that didn't show up was, I don't know if y'all are familiar with it, Cengage Unlimited. Had you heard of this before? You were in class last time. Have you heard of it, Peyton?
Cengage
Unlimited.
Yes.
You have, okay. There will be a big blurb on that. They put that in the fall, and this was last summer, so it's not showing up here. But I'll put it in for the spring. So then, once everything's out there, I'll let you know that the course is on Blackboard. The syllabus is on Blackboard. Then you can go and you can either type your name in here and email it to me, or print this off, sign it, and give it to me, whichever you want to do. All right, that's the syllabus. Any questions on the syllabus so far? The bulk of the syllabus is nothing's changed. It's just the details. hours and things like that. Okay. Then I will close this out. And here's my locator card. Now, this is not for this term. This is last fall, obviously. But this is how it will look. And by the way, I forgot this. Here's all the information about me and the course. Well, for some reason, that's not working. There we go. My name, my phone numbers, both in Birmingham, Bessemer and Birmingham. My email address, mathematics department. Now I'll scroll this down. Ooh. Okay. And basically, like I said before, on Monday, because I lost the class at Math 100 that I had this morning, another instructor needed it, so I gave it to him. That got me from 10 to 9 courses, so that's a move in the right direction. So that starts at 8:30. No, I'm in the office from 8, usually before 8, but from 8 to 10. 10 o'clock, I've got Math 125 this term. It was 126 in the fall, 125 now. That goes until 11:40. Then I'm back in the office from 11:45 until this class starts at 12:30. So I have 45 minutes to try to cram down lunch. So this class starts at, it's 2:27. No, 2:38. 2:27 starts at 12:30. So it's down 15 minutes from here. And that goes until 2:10. And then I'm back in the office 2:10 to 2:30. And then the class starts at 2:30, goes to 3:45. 3:45, in the office from 3:45 until 6 on Monday. Okay. Tuesday, like I said, Math 112, 113. Then comes the linear algebra at 11. Okay. And that goes till 12:45. And then I have 30 minutes for lunch there, from 12:45 until 1:15. And at 1:15, my physical science 111 class starts then. It's a mini-term class, so it goes from 1:15 till 3:45, then lab from 3:45 to 5:45, and then I'll leave at 6, so I only have 15 minutes office hours at the bottom. So Tuesday and Thursday, 30 minutes at the beginning is about it. 30 minutes at lunch, and that's all, folks. Okay. Wednesday is a lot like Monday. Office hours from 8 until 10. 10 o'clock is the 125, and then 227 is at 12:30, and then this class starts at 2:30 until 3:45. Okay. However, at 3:45 or 4 o'clock, I'll leave for Birmingham East Campus. There I have a physics class that goes until from 4:30 until 6:30. Thursday's just like Tuesday, and then Friday's Birmingham West Campus academic goes to be 122 from 8 till 12. Okay. I put lunch in there because we're required to put lunch in there, but really, at most eat a snack or something like that. I'm not ever off campus for lunch that I can think of that I've ever been. And I'm running all over my power cord. Okay. So that's what the locator card will look like. Okay. I'm going to minimize that. Now here's the research paper instructions. Y'all have seen this, heard it before. We haven't gone over it in this class. I've been over this 3 times today, so I can't remember which class. Do y'all all remember? Oh, you remember it from before, Peyton?
Roughly.
Okay.
Physics classes.
Okay. We did have one when you took it. Yeah, a research paper.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Same, pretty much the same thing. I may have added this. You can do it on an internet application or demonstration, like a YouTube video or something. If you find something that really helps you in the course, then yeah, you can do all that. So anything that pertains to the course, people, theory, phenomenon, application, there's tons of things that differential equations deal with. We'll use several examples here. We'll talk about chemical reactions. We'll talk about population studies. There's just tons of things that carbon dating, no, that's not it. But anyway, any kind of.
I remember the first time I came across it.
What's that?
I was just a freshman in college, and the first time at UAH, and first time I came across it, I was with their rocketry team, and they used first order differential equations for the thrust of the rocket,
Right.
and I think second order for what speed and altitude it would reach.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was a bit insane.
Yeah.
They showed to us how it works in theory on the board once. We'll do it with online application for the rest of the time.
Pretty good. So anything that you choose to write on, applications, anything, that would do it. Try to, in the next week, write on a piece of paper your name and the topic at least that you're going to investigate. Consider first to investigate. If you find out it's too broad or too narrow or you don't like it at all, you can always change it. But get started on it and try to get that to me. Now, if you want to, and this is something I always give people an option, since you're going to have a piece of paper there with just your name and a topic on it, if you want to put your very best phone number, you can put, it has nothing to do with the paper, but periodically, and it doesn't happen often, not even every term, but it has happened often enough that I always have to give the students this option. Just give you a little background. For instance, the last several days I've been spending a lot of my time having to cancel classes, but I always try to call students first to see if I can help them move into other sections. And so many times the phone numbers in the system don't work. Either they've changed numbers, someone typed in the number wrong, they've moved, something's happened and it doesn't work. So it does happen sometimes that someone will come running up to me and say, "This is what's in your differential equation class. Do you have a new number for them? The ones in the systems don't work." I'll only give it to someone at the college, employee of the college, in a position they really need to know that for some emergency. Not to other students, not to people outside the college, nothing like that, only that. So if you want to give me your very best number, you can. If you don't want to give me any numbers, you don't have to. If that happens to be a cell phone, which most of you probably will be, and there's a chance that the battery could die, it could get run over by a car, you could leave it at home or something else, like I left mine at home today. If you want to give me a good backup number, like Mama's landline or something like that, that's fine too. It's completely up to you. Or if you might be at work you work for AT&T, so they don't discourage use of phones. I mean, that's their business. But then you probably need to use yours all the time. But in some businesses, they don't want people talking on the phone at work. So if that were the case, and you do have a work number that you could receive an emergency number, you could give me that. You don't have to give me any of them. But if you want to, since you got a piece of paper with just two pieces of information, you want to give me the other, fine. It's up to you. Okay. You'll need at least one source, two or more or better, but they have to be outside sources for your paper. Those could be anything you can find in the library. Book, journal, newspaper, magazine, anything such as that you can find in the library, or any legitimate source from the internet. Way too much stuff on the internet is total garbage. So be sure it's legitimate, okay? The textbook periodically will have little blurbs in it. Let's see if I can see one. There's rocketry, okay? I'm not landing on one now, but I know somewhere in here there's probably a little blurb on Runga Cutter or on something like that. And that can give you an idea for a paper, but it can't be your source for your paper. You got to take that idea and find your source somewhere else. Okay. The textbook is not an outside source, that's inside. Okay. Paper needs to be at least one word process page of text, double spaced. Okay. Now let me explain to you what I mean by one page of text. And I don't require you to have any special format, but a lot of students will give me and have some sort of header up here with their name and other stuff in it. and then skip a few lines, and then the title, and then triple space, and finally start typing here. Okay? One page of text is going to go from here to the bottom of that page, but then start on a different piece of paper and come down at least that far. Okay? That's a page of text. Okay? That's the minimum. You can do it longer, of course, but that's the minimum. I want it double space. This is single space. I don't want it single space. If it's single space, you lose points. So double space, so you don't have that much typing to do. And I do want 12-point or 12-pitch font. I don't want any 9 that I can't read, nor do I want 26 that 4 words fill up a page. That's not going to work either. So keep it something readable. 12-pitch. Okay? I don't care what font you use as long as I can read it. I don't read hieroglyphics or Old English or that kind of stuff. So keep it simple. Times New Roman is just by everybody's default. This is Arial, Careers. There's a ton of great fonts out there that are very readable. Now, you'll lose points if your paper's too short. There's no penalty for being longer. Say you shoot for 2 pages, 1 to 2 pages. I don't take off points if it's longer than 2. I don't want to discourage you. If you get so fired up about the subject and you're just writing on about it, fine, as long as it's a good paper. Now, I haven't had this happen much, but I've been here, like I said, 22, 23 years. Probably the first 3 or 4 years I didn't have papers done. But after that, every course I teach, mostly, has had papers, and most courses have been a lot bigger than this, 10 to 15 students at least. And like I said, this term I have 9, a lot of terms 8, but no less than 4 term papers, subjects a term. So I've seen a lot of papers, a lot of papers. Only this happened a few times I recall that someone decided, well, I know I can't impress them with how good the paper is, so I'm going to make it long. Please don't do that. A long, ill thought out, poorly executed paper, it's not going to win you any points at all. Okay. In fact, here's how I grade them. When you turn them into me, they're 100-point papers. I can hear you now say, don't grade it. Okay, no, I'm going to grade it. And as I grade, if I do find errors, then lose a point here, lose a point. So if you do a really long, sloppy, lousy paper, you're going to be losing lots and lots and lots of points. Not the way to go. Do a good paper. Doesn't have to be short, but it needs to be sweet. Okay, so do it. A long, good paper, not going to lose many points. Okay. I don't care what format you use. Most English classes teach MLA, Modern Language Association. That's fine with me. A lot of science organizations like APA, that's American Psychological Association, they came up with the format very early on. It was a real neat, clean format. People said, hey, how can you improve on this? Let's use it. So many people adopted that. However, I've been in a member of several different professional organizations. It seems like every one of them has their own format. So I know my wife writes a lot of, she researches UAB, and boy, New England Journal of Medicine is very different from JAMA, and that's very different from this, pediatrics. So she has to keep up with the formats and know that she has a mind for that. So whatever format you choose, stick with it. For instance, if you start blocking paragraphs, block all your paragraphs. I've seen paragraphs blocked on the first page and then indented on the second page, or indented a different amount on the third paragraph. I don't know why, it's just sloppiness. I've seen people change font in the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of a sentence, or in the middle of a word sometimes, It's just sloppiness. I mean, so be careful. Spelling, grammar, sentence structure, all that, those errors will cost you points. So guess what? All your word processing packages nowadays have spell check. Most of them have grammar check. Use them. Okay, no reason not to. I'll tell you when people don't use them. It's when they wait till the end of the term and try to knock out a paper in a few minutes and turn it in before the deadline. Forget the spell check. Don't even bother with grammar check. That's where they lose points. Okay, big time. Okay, use good proofreading. Content also matters, so be careful on that. Be consistent. I've seen people exchange 2 numbers and have Isaac Newton doing something in the 19th century or in the 1900s. No, he didn't live in the 1900s, you know. You got something wrong there, okay? So be careful on content as well. Now, the paper is technically due by the last day of class. That's not final exams, last day of class, that we are in class before final. That's the last Monday in May, not in April, I think it is, okay? That'll be the last day of class. That's when it's due. But please don't wait till then. Do it early. That's why I'm giving you, saying, get me something this week or next week on what you're going to write on. Get you thinking about it. You'll never have more time to work on a paper than you do right now. Any of you have other projects or tests due? No, today's the first day of class. Get started on it early, okay? If you get it in late, you will lose points for that. But that's the stick. Here's the carrot. If you get it in the month of January, you get 4 bonus points. February 3, March 2, the first 2 weeks in April 1. The end of April is the last day of class, so I can't give you more. So that next week or two there, you won't get any bonus points. Okay. Then after that last day of class, you start losing points. All right, any questions on that? One more thing that I require that I don't know anyone else who does, but I still require it. When you submit your paper, include a single sheet from one of your sources. Okay? So if it was a book from the library, a magazine, a journal article, something from the library, take it over to the copy machine, copy me 1 page, a single page, just one. If you have 2 or 3 sources, just pick one source and print me 1 page from it. If it's something that you pulled from a library offline, you know, that you pulled online from a library, then print me a page. Or if it's something you got on the internet that is reliable, print me a single page. I don't need the whole article, just a single page. Okay? Any questions? Sooner the better, folks. The sooner the more bonus points, folks. Okay. If there are no questions, I'll update that. All I got to change is the month names, and that'll be fine. Okay. Now, the last thing we got to do, and I hate about this one, but it is something that's important, especially considering what happened on the Birmingham campus last term. The B building, there was a fire. Kind of an explosion in the fire. What they figured happened, the fire department, or whatever who analyzes this, said the woman in the office had a space heater under her desk, but it was right next to a file cabinet. And in the file cabinet, in a drawer probably near the bottom, there were 2 pressurized cans. I don't know what were in them, but 2 pressurized cans. The first one got hot and must have blown through the metal file cabinet into the ceiling. And ceiling tile dust was falling everywhere, and it was an explosion. She was shook. She went out into the hall. There must have been something in the can that was making her dizzy or disoriented or something. She made her way into the hall. Someone else saw her and got her out of the building. And
a little shell shock from the explosion.
Yeah, from the explosion. And then, about the time they were getting her out of the building, there was a big explosion. They said it was basically a fireball. The second can, when it exploded, it ignited too. And they said her purse, everything that she left in there, no trace. It was melted, evaporated, you know, vaporized, whatever. So we need to keep these things in mind.
That's the funny thing. It's only really the offices in these buildings that can really burn. There's no carpet and no drywall in any other part of the buildings. Right. It's just the offices. Yeah. But the example I'm going to give in a minute, what if my computer explodes? I mean, yeah, it's mostly self-contained though. It doesn't have much to burn around it. Got all the paper behind it, and maybe even the shellac on the desk. I mean, we could have a minor thing, but nothing major, right? Nothing that would endanger the building.
Yeah. The second reason we think safety, especially spring terms, weather. For the end of this term, remember April 11th?
Tornadoes.
April 27th,
2011. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, there are safety issues we need to keep in mind.
It does help that we are the highest point around here. Like,
Yeah.
that does definitely help with the weather because tornadoes are reluctant to climb vertical slopes like this.
And yeah, you've been in Huntsville.
Yeah, Huntsville, the weather in the spring and fall, the weather can go from nice and sunny and everything's fine to all of the traffic lights are sideways, trees are down. Literally, the campus had 4 trees laying on buildings in like 30 minutes, and then the rest of the day looked like nothing ever happened.
Wow. My wife was from Huntsville, and she remembers some tornado back. She was in high school. She still, as that alarm goes off, she's in the basement, boom,
Yep, you hear the weather siren.
Is that
UAH.
Yeah. So what are the 3 areas of safety we need to think about then? We've already mentioned 2 of them.
The weather, fire, and other internal hazards.
Yeah.
I guess there's always a possibility of an intruder, but
Yeah, that's it.
active shooter?
yeah.
Active shooters, exactly. So let's hit the weather first. If we hear that alarm go off, what do?
Safe floor?
Yes, go low and interior. Okay, and from this space where we are now, here's what we do. Here we are in this corner classroom here. And what we do. Oh. What we do is go out the door, hang a left, go down that little half flight of stairs there. And immediately at the bottom of that, we hang another left, go down a full flight of stairs, and then go interior. Don't go out. Worst place to be in a weather emergency is on the road. Absolute worst. Okay? So don't, the dog's out there. No, the dog will take care of himself. They have more sense than that. Don't go there. Okay? Go interior. Immediately interior, you find the restrooms. Not too bad a place because the walls are close together, lots of corners. This is where the strength of
No windows, no glass.
No windows, no glass, interior. In fact, the back wall here in this building, of that lower level down there, is soil. I mean, the first floor here is the same level as the second floor here.
It's either there or Mr. Kelly's lab right around the corner. The
Yeah.
interior is probably the 2 places.
Yeah, that would be okay too. So that's a little higher up because you have a little half flight of stairs there.
No, his is around, his is down at the bottom. It's not up the stairs.
Oh, okay.
No, it is around. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it is right.
So it is the bathroom is the lowest point there.
Yeah, so that's low. Now, there are a few more steps down here. Underneath this floor, this is the second floor, is the dean's office. Okay, it's like 2 steps from here. And that's not bad because it's small, close walls, but it's locked up most of the time, so don't break into that. Next is a classroom. Now, that's a little bit larger, but again, the interior wall here, very secure. These also are interior walls, they're good. The corners of the desk, okay? The center of the room, maybe not the best, okay? Right next to that, you go through the glass doors going into the library. Immediately inside is a computer lab, and those are small space, close walls, so that's not bad, especially that back wall here. And then right next to that is what I call the reference room, and that's not bad. Now, you do have shelving there and books high.
Don't want to be standing next to the big wall.
Yeah, so corners again, and that back wall is probably pretty safe. Don't go any further than the library because then you're on the exterior. Windows are there. You don't want
Do
to
that. Well, I guess we go to the interior stairwells. The stairwells I've heard pretty good because they're big pieces of steel on each one of the steps that spiral all the way up.
But most of those do have the
Exterior wall. There's the ones down that way that don't have an exterior wall.
Now, actually, one of the best places to be is the hallway. Okay, the advantage of the hallway over the others. disadvantage is no corners in the hallway. The walls are relatively close together with no corners. You don't have any against the wood wall back here, so that's another. But the advantage of them is the hallways, because if we have a really serious weather emergency, there's a real good chance the power will go off. Very good chance to go off. If you're in an interior space, you're going to be in the dark. Okay? Only if you're near a window would you have light. You don't want to be near a window. But the hallway has emergency light. So that's the advantage. The restrooms don't, maybe not the best. But in the classrooms don't, but at least you have more space to move around. But the hallway, not a bad place to be. We were up in Athens State University for a math meeting several years ago, and the keynote speaker was in his first 15 minutes when the sirens went off, and we had to get down into the hallway. And
we had it at MTH once, and for some reason, in most of the dormitories, they've reinforced the second floor for the weather emergencies. Yeah, so we had to go to the second floor and wait it out there. I guess they figured, well, the first floor, most of the dormitories is completely glass, because it's all front window, the front of the offices and all that. So, yeah, really the second floor is the first place you could really reinforce.
All right, is it time to go? I think it must be. Okay, let's, oh, I got a clock here. Whoops, sorry about that. Do we need to go over the other two? We probably do need to go over those next time. Yeah, so we'll hit that very first, and then we'll get into different.
As our fire escape route's just the stairwell behind us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay, good deal. Huh? Yeah, thanks. And I